Hey, techies, and I know Jacob doesn't like that name, but no one suggested anything better, so
Yeah,
we're going with it.
Come
for
on,
now.
guys,
So
give
the
us a
techies.
good name for our fan base, please, because we're not very creative.
Well, I don't. He's not. So this is Two Guys Talk Tech. This is episode 9, and we're going to be talking about the RadioShack catalog from a special year, red letter date in history, 1996. Why are we doing 1996?
Well, there's a very, very important global reason.
Yeah, what happened in 1996 that shook the earth and made everything kind of chaotic?
I was born.
That's right. So you were born in 1996 when this catalog came out, and we're going to go through it today and find some products that we find interesting.
Yeah, and these catalogs usually come out right at the beginning of the year, so technically it's still older than me.
Yeah. Because typically they come out before.
This is our second time doing it. We did 1990 first, and peeking into the future, I know we're going back to the 80s for the next one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. So make sure you guys subscribe so you get notified when that one comes out.
Again, if we were clever, we'd probably come up with like some catchy sub name for this sub series of Two Guys Talk Tech.
No, I'm not
but
that clever.
We're not. So
No, I'll. You know what? We'll leave that to our editor to come up with some nice titles.
So 1996. Let's see. America Online was huge. Bill Clinton was president. Al Gore invented the internet. What was going on in the tech world?
It was a weird time for me because I was in corporate sales just starting out, I think, at that time. So a lot of the products in this catalog are kind of foreign to me because after leaving RadioShack in 1993, I want to say, I just kind of stopped going there for a while and, lost interest in it completely. So it's going to be interesting for me because most of the products we're going to talk about, I either have never seen, never used, never saw in the store even.
One thing I noticed before we go into our actual choices is that the general design of this catalog is a lot different than earlier ones, and you get a lot better, clearer visuals of the items, and they get much bigger sections of each page dedicated to them.
True, but the one thing that I will point out right away for those of you who enjoy computers and primarily watch because of computer technology, there is almost nothing computer in this catalog.
I don't think there's a single, actual computer on our list.
No, because they didn't even have any in the catalog that were for sale. They had some accessories, they had some hard drives and a few things like that, but no computers.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. I mean, I think that's one of the things that I really liked about RadioShack.
But we still picked out some great items. And we're doing 5, not 7, because 7 was too many last time. So we're on 5 now each.
Yeah, and I don't think most of these are going to require as much explanation because they're just unique things.
Yep.
But we'll see.
All right, so let's get started with your first one. And I got a little beef with you because I absolutely wanted this on my list, and you took it first.
So my first item was on page 8 of the catalog, and it is a see-through telephone. And you really wanted this on your list, and you were quite unhappy with me for picking it. But let me tell you why I picked it. I had one of these.
Yeah, that's fair. You deserve to have it on your list for that reason. But we've talked about this in previous episodes. I love transparent plastic things.
Right.
So I wanted it. And the not necessarily this specific phone, but this general design of the see-through phone is so incredibly iconic of the time.
And it's funny, though, because we give Apple so much credit for the iMac design and how it kind of brought translucent plastic into the realm of being cool, but people are doing clear plastic things long before then. And if you look at this one, I mean, they added so much color to it to make it really pop and stand out. And I remember there was other phones that we had kind of around this time, clear like this. Some of them had neon lights in them. It was a thing for a while.
Yeah. The transparent technology still exists. But in a very niche market, you can still find stuff like that for the prison market because they don't want you to be able to smuggle things in.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so fun fact for you guys, bonus fact.
So if I ever go to prison, you're going to send me one of these.
You know what? Sure. So this thing was $80.
Yeah, it was $80 at the time, which I think is kind of expensive, but they had quite a few phones kind of in that price range. Now I looked on eBay, I couldn't find any, and it's a shame because I wouldn't mind having one just for a set piece here.
I've found one or two before, not this specific model, but the general concept at thrift stores throughout the years. And I always, every time I'm like this close to buying it, and then something about them makes me not want to. Either maybe it's damaged or the price was just too high or blah, blah, blah. It's always something.
Now, I wonder if that plastic stays in that great a shape. I mean, being clear like that and such, I wonder if it gets brittle or if it gets clouded or anything or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our first pick. And I think we'll go over to you for your first pick.
Oh, my first pick now. This is a good one. You're going to like this. So on page 20 of the catalog, my exact thought process was, fine, you took the phone I want to talk about. We'll talk about this one instead. This is the pallet phone. Half the price of your stupid phone. They came in white or black, and it is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. I know I said that last episode with that one radio thing.
No, but this is really ugly. I mean, look at that thing.
Holy
it's
cow.
Why would anyone? And it says something in the description about bringing out the artist in you.
Oh.
If that's your form of art, I am deeply concerned about your interest in art. I just don't get it.
The base looks like a Sega Genesis controller.
Good point. Yeah, I would agree. White or black? Which one?
Black.
I had a feeling you'd go with that, and I have to agree with you because I think white, anything's pretty ugly.
And especially with the multicolored buttons, they're just going to look like a preschool kid's toy on the white one.
Good point as well. I'm actually surprised, though, because I looked at that same page, and I was almost certain that you would go with the seashell.
That entire page was a goldmine of terrible designs.
Right, absolutely.
And
Why didn't you go with the seashell? I mean, it's a clamshell phone from the 90s before,
It would have been my second choice, but something about this design just grabbed me, and I needed to...
It was ugly.
Express my inner artist and show it to the world. So say, hey, world, this terrible thing existed.
I don't know what they're... I would love to know how many of them they sold. I would absolutely love to have sales data on something.
Who's the market for this? Bob Ross?
Old people? Maybe?
Artsy,
Young people who want
New
to
York.
be artsy and say, look at this weird phone I have, even though this is at the tail end of phone time.
Yeah. This was a weird time because, by this point, all your features for a standard phone were set. There was no innovation in the corded phone market anymore. So I feel like in order to catch people, they had to go weirder and weirder with the design.
I would agree. And this is really weird. Now, if any of you own this phone, please let us know and let us know why you chose to buy it, because I am absolutely fascinated that anyone would choose this phone. So if you ever owned one or know anyone who owned one, tell us about it, please.
I think what we're going to do now is bounce back to your next item. We're going to keep flip-flopping probably. I don't know. We're bad at organizing these things. But again, this is the second item on this list that I saw, and I'm like, I would totally put this on my list, but you already beat me to it.
All right, so my next pick is on page 46 of the catalog, and this thing is amazing. It's a CD clock radio, all in one. And I just absolutely think this is the coolest thing ever. I mean, if you're into CDs in the 90s, which who wouldn't have been, and you need to get up in the morning, this is the ticket, right?
Yes, but when I, think about alarm clocks, we've had radio alarm clocks forever. Turn on the radio, hear whatever is playing, and you wake up to it. That's fine. But when you hear the same thing over and over again, it gets...
But you put a different CD in. When you go to bed, you put a different CD in.
My argument, though, is I almost don't want to hear something good when I wake up in the morning. I want something to, jolt me up in bed, not like the sweet, sweet sounds of, oh, come on.
Yeah, I don't know. 1996, come on.
Hansen? No.
That
97?
was later. That was
Yeah.
later, I think. No, see, what you do is you put some, like,
Put on the
metal in there.
Chronic.
That was later again,
yep.
I think. Put in some heavy metal, some Guns N' Roses or whatever, and have it at full
That would
volume.
do it.
And have it wake you up. Now, remember in the last episode, we talked about that the plug-in power device that I made into a clock radio with my stereo? Mm-hmm. That was much more effective than this obviously would be.
I just like how flat of a design is. It feels like it's stretched out because it needs room for the CD player.
Now, here's the thing. It's $130. Would you have spent $130 on something like this?
No.
I wonder how many people chose to buy this over a regular clock radio back then because of the steep price difference.
The convenience of being able to choose exactly what I listen to versus, at the time, radio stations were a lot better than they are now.
What's a radio station?
Right. You mean a Spotify playlist?
Yeah. So what's a radio station? I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's just say an extra $60, $70 for this feature, right? To play a specific rock CD versus the rock station doesn't really seem worth it to me.
No. I think it looks cool. I'm also fascinated by the fact that it has the old red LED clock radio, display with the CD player. It's a weird aesthetic, so that was my second pick.
Yeah, this is the type of thing I would definitely take a double take walking past, like down the electronics aisle.
You see a whole bunch of clock radios, and then you see this. It would definitely get my attention, and it's just such a weird look.
Yeah, so I like it.
All right, what do you got for us now?
My next item is also a radio alarm clock. This is the My First Sony, which there are a ton of items in the My First Sony line. They've got like Walkmans and, basically if Sony made it, they made a kid's version of it. Mm-hmm. And something about the name I really love. My First Sony. It's not My First Alarm Clock. It's My First brand name, No,
it's actually a really good branding technique. It's branding Sony and bringing like that whole idea of this is the brand that you want and to continue with that brand. I think it's really good. I'm pretty impressed.
I think it's a good idea, and I think I looked at some of the other products in the lineup, and they all make sense. This is the one that sticks out as kind of odd to me, because you look at the design. Mm-hmm. It's got bright colors, very simple big dials on it, makes it easy for little kids to use.
Right.
How big is the market of someone who's needs to get up on their own in the morning and isn't old enough for a normal alarm clock?
That's a good question, actually. But does it really matter? I mean, you give it to the kid and you're like, look, you're just like us. You've got your own alarm clock.
But if that was putting myself at, in probably the target age range, like 8 to 12, I would have fiddled with it and ruined the alarm.
Yes, but you fiddled with everything.
Of course.
You still do that.
Also, it has a snooze button on it, which you think would be the one thing you'd want to remove from a kid's alarm clock.
And it says something about a sleep timer. Did you see that?
Yeah, so
what is that?
Isn't that, I guess that'd be for, you can play the radio in the evening and then like automatically turn it off.
I wasn't sure if it, because the way it says it kind of like ties it in with the snooze alarm.
Yeah.
The wording was just a little weird. So I didn't know on that one.
It was cheap though, $30. That's $100 less than the last one. I'd say that's a pretty quality device for $30. And since it's targeted towards kids, if you do the classic smash your alarm clock in the morning, it's probably not going to break.
Right.
So I like this thing, but not enough to ever own it because it is.
Could you find it on eBay?
Yeah. It was almost exactly the price it was in the catalog.
I always find it funny when we buy old technology where we pay more or the same of what it was when it was brand new. Yep. I mean, obviously inflation's a factor in there, but I just find it funny. Some things you can get for like nothing, and other things it's like, exactly the same price as what you would have bought them new.
Yeah. Okay. Again, this is an item, your third item, I would have put on my list, but you already took it. So
You like
I'm kind of
things,
mad
don't you?
here. This one especially, of all the, we've had several kids items on here already, or just portable, blah, blah, blah. This one's the weirdest and possibly the most interesting.
But I'm going to go back to again. Why do you like kids things so much?
Bright colors, weird designs.
So you're easily amused by color?
Yeah.
Okay. So I went with the kids portable TV with cassette and AM/FM player.
This thing truly is the all-in-one for a kid.
I would have killed for one of these when I was a kid.
Me too. I mean, sure, the TV's in black and white, but already just having a portable television is amazing. And to have everything else with it too is super cool. And it's surprisingly, for the fact it's got a TV, it's got a cassette player, and a radio receiver all in one, it's surprisingly compact.
Right. So having a TV, I'm going to go back to that again.
Yeah.
And portability sounds like the best thing ever when I was that age. And this thing looks, very kid friendly. And it got me to thinking though, first of all, it's like 130, 140 bucks.
Yep.
And that's pretty expensive to give your kid. You wonder how durable that TV is, but then think about powering it. You got a black and white CRT TV in that thing.
Yeah.
It takes 10 D-cell batteries.
10.
10.
And D-cell batteries aren't cheap now.
Right.
And they were even more expensive then.
Right. You could use an AC adapter. They even sold a cigarette plug adapter, which I thought was just a sign of the times there, Give your kid their radio in the car with your cigarette plug.
I mean, it works.
Yeah, but it's just weird. I mean, that wouldn't be a selling point now. Now everything's USB powered. It's like, 5-volt USB. It's all standardized, whatever. But,
I think if I was a parent who gave this to their child, I would give them batteries for it once. And that's yeah, you're sticking to plugging it into the wall.
Or go with rechargeables.
Yep.
I mean, they had NiCad, so you can go with that. But yeah, this is something I wouldn't mind having as a kid. I looked on eBay, I couldn't find any. But I think it's really kind of a cool design. Obviously...
It's only a 4.5-inch screen, though.
But it's still TV.
Yeah, it's so cool. But, if you're using that now...
Do you remember when you got your first TV of your own?
Me?
Yeah. As a kid, do you remember the first time you had a television that was your own, that you could, control and watch?
I didn't. My sisters did. They had one when I was a little kid. We didn't have a TV in our room until I was in middle school.
So, that is actually not true, but you were too young to remember. You were young and you got a TV and you broke it.
Sweet. Just like I probably would have broken the thing.
But going back to the concept, imagine if, as a kid in grade school, you were given one of these and you could watch TV wherever.
See,
nowadays they're so, kids have that expectation of being able to stream stuff. But imagine going back to where you didn't.
You would have been the coolest kid around if you brought that thing to school.
Well, I don't know. It depends on the age group because of the color scheme.
Yeah.
You'd have to, there's a delicate balance of age. You get to a certain age and you probably get beat up for bringing that in.
Also, the color palette's really interesting because they went with the hard, stereotypical boy blue and pink to try to play to both.
Right. But I think it's cool. I think it's a cool design. What do you got next for us?
I have quite a good one, I think. This is my surprise pick because I had to admit to you I didn't get it. There were parts of this that I'm just like, I did not know that was a thing. On page 59 of the catalog, we have a portable karaoke system. Also, I never realized how much of a pet peeve it is that we pronounce it karaoke.
Right.
That's not even close to how it's supposed to be pronounced. There's no E in it. Where did the care-E come from?
Well, we pronounce things quite strangely, as you know. So this thing was considered portable, huh?
Yeah, it's huge. Well, it's huge, but also not. But it wasn't the concept of portable karaoke that was weird for me, because I actually grew up in a household with a lot of karaoke.
Right.
We had several at different times. We had several different ways to do karaoke.
I never used any of them.
We had like a pedestal unit with its own built-in screen. We had a DVD player set up that could do it and run them, to the TV. We had several various different systems for doing karaoke in the house when I was a kid.
I don't remember you ever using any of them.
No, because I don't sing.
Me either.
But I was around them. I had no idea karaoke on cassette was a thing.
So I'm gonna admit that I didn't either. I just never even thought about it. I was never into karaoke back then.
Started with the CD. What's the CDK?
CD graphic.
Yeah. It's CDGs. Yeah.
Yeah.
I assumed that's where they started, but apparently you could get them on cassette. So my question was, well, what about the lyrics?
I don't think you got the lyrics.
No.
I think you just got the
You
terrible
probably get them
karaoke
on a
music.
sheet.
Oh,
Maybe
I
in a
wonder.
little
Maybe if they
booklet?
gave you like a printout.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
That's just not as fun, is it?
So any of you who did karaoke in the 80s on cassettes, can you tell us how you knew the lyrics? Because we honestly don't know.
It confused me when I first saw it. I honestly was like, how does this work? My brain could not comprehend the fact that you could have karaoke without the scrolling words being highlighted
Right.
as you read.
Now, again, this is considered portable, so it's not huge, but I love the industrial-looking handle on it.
It very much looks like a good, solid design. Something that, if you throw it in the trunk of your car isn't going to get destroyed. It is definitely the type of thing you'd haul out to parties, though, not something you'd walk around with
Right.
at all times.
Right, so portable is kind of a misnomer in this case.
Luggable would be
Luggable, yeah. I wonder what the quality of that microphone was.
Yeah, that would be interesting to know, especially considering the price for the entire thing's only $100.
Right. And they sold mics that cost more than that. Could you find any on eBay?
Yeah, and there are surprisingly quite a few, so this must have been quite the popular design.
Interesting. What was the pricing?
Right around $100. Some as little as like 70, but missing the accessories,
Right.
Which I wouldn't do. There weren't any like truly pristine in the box ones that I found.
That's interesting, though. I mean, I don't remember these at all. Again, this was a period of time where I was not into RadioShack, and I just didn't even think of these. So that was a good find. So you went with portable karaoke, right?
Portable karaoke.
Luggable, portable. I went with real portable. Look at this beauty here. A handheld portable karaoke cassette with built-in microphone.
This thing's silly.
For $40, you could walk around all day long as you change the batteries and annoy your parents by singing into the mic, walking around your house, just following them around, singing some 1990s awful song.
The worst thing about this is I'm just imagining, because you could totally just use a standard cassette and play through with it.
Right.
And then just scream over it. That's a parent's worst nightmare right there.
Yeah. And if I understood correctly, this thing also had an input for a second microphone.
For the duets.
Right. So you and your brother or sister can really ham it up for the parents and make them really wonder why they had children. So I went with portable. You went with
Portable.
portable. I think mine's cooler. Although at $40, I'm sure this thing was the cheapest of cheap.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you figure $10 for the cassette mechanism alone.
Right.
Plus another $5 or so for the microphone.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't find any of these on eBay, but I would love to get my hands on just to see how they made a $40 portable karaoke player back then.
It's quite the striking design because it just looks wrong.
Right. I mean, I had to do a double take when I saw it in the catalog. I stopped and I'm like, what?
It looks like what you'd get if Salvador Dali was told to make a Walkman.
Well, I think we've sung enough about karaoke,
Yes.
so
Oh man, I cannot wait for this next one. This is going to be fun. You know this is going to be quite the discussion.
it just came up on the screen, and I'm already kind of drooling.
Page 64, one of the best pages in the catalog. We have the Optimus Professional Series CD 100. $500 for a 100 CD changer.
That's amazing. That would take, well, not my whole collection back then, but I would take a good chunk of it and put it in.
Holy cow.
Imagine the amount of time you spend loading that sucker.
Imagine the cost, because you got $500 for the system alone, and then you figure, what, $15 on average per CD?
So the average CD cost anywhere from $12 to $20 in 1996. So if you paid $12 a piece for them, that's $1,200 in your 100 disc changer. If you were paying $20 a piece, that's $2,000 in there. $2,000 for your music collection to go in there. So your average CD would have about, we'll say, 10 songs on it.
Yeah.
So that's 1,000 songs, not in your pocket, in your living room.
Look at the scale of it, because it's got the remote sitting on top of it. Mm-hmm. So it's easily like a double height, device, like the size of a huge amplifier, kind of deal. It's big.
I would love to actually know the mechanism and how it got the CD from the, the place that it rests to the laser and back.
I was reading the paragraph on it. It's got tons of info behind it. Like, you can assign your CDs into different genres and have it, like, only play that genre.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it was the iPod of its time.
And this is just something that is weird to me because, like, in our house, when I was a teenager, in my room, we had a CD changer, and it had 5, and I was like, when do you ever have to play 5 CDs,
It's interesting that you brought that up, though.
Yeah.
That was a realistic CD player that I had in my computer store many years ago, and I ended up giving it to your older brother. So you actually had a RadioShack CD player in
Look at that.
In your bedroom.
This thing would have been great for stores.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we use the 5-disc changer for, is just to rotate music.
Now imagine 20 times that.
I'm just thinking again, like whatever mechanism they use to get the CD to the laser, I just see that as being dangerously breakable.
Yeah. I'm just imagining buying one of these now for myself and then realizing I don't even own 10 CDs.
Well, I own more than that.
And I could not find this whatsoever on eBay. I did find a Pioneer model, kind of similar with the same number, and that was $600-700. So, if one shows up, I'd assume it's in that price range.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Pioneer didn't make these. I mean, I'm not sure who did Optimus at that time because they used several manufacturers. Who knows?
But this thing's cool. I like it. I would have no use for one, but I can still appreciate it as just an over-the-top piece of technology.
All right. So this is my last one.
Yes.
I said there was no computers really in the catalog, but I did pick a computer-related item. I picked Print Shop Deluxe, the software that has a long history with me. Do you know what that is, by any chance? Do you know what Print Shop
used Print Shop Deluxe a ton as a kid. I never once printed something. Just messing around with it.
Really?
With all the built-in graphics and whatnot.
So Print Shop started like a long time ago as they made a lot of versions. So they made a version for the Apple II, for the Atari 8-bit, quite a few other ones like the NEC, PC, whatever that was. Mm-hmm. Just a whole bunch of things. They made it for the Commodore too, but it was a printing software where you can do things like greeting cards, banners, et cetera, et cetera. And when I was younger, I used the Apple II version all the time. Whenever we'd have school functions, we'd print out our newsletter in Print Shop. We'd make our banners in Print Shop. So the fact that it, stayed around all the way to like 96, that shows you how cool of a product it was. It was made by Borderbound Software and
Famous for their educational games.
right. And they were supposed to be bought by Sierra online. That didn't happen. And then I think it was a learning company bought them eventually.
That would make sense.
Yeah. But I used this software over and over for many years, and I thought it was like one of the best values I ever got back then. I did not use this specific version, but it was such
There
a cool
are
product.
tons upon tons of versions of it.
Yeah, and I was looking, and we actually have a copy for the Tandy 1000. We have a copy for the Atari 8-bit, and I want to say we have a Mac version as well. So, or like an Apple II version. I think it's just a cool product, and I think that whole time and that creativity that you got out of it was was awesome. So that was my pick. So I wanted to have something computer related because that's what we talk about so much here.
Yeah.
But there was really nothing in that
No,
catalog. So
it definitely feels like a different time than the last year we looked at, which was 1990. It's
right, because this
crazy
was
what
after
6
Tandy had
years.
sold off its computer stuff to AST, and about the time that Tandy started bringing in name brands into stores. It's just a different animal.
Yep.
And, again, that's why I really didn't have much interest in RadioShack at that time. So that's my 5. I'm curious to hear what your last one is.
My last one's a weird one, and I'll be honest, I don't know if I would have picked it had it not been for our personal history with it. So it's a Scrabble dictionary.
Now, I just saw it come up on screen. Mm-hmm. It's made by Franklin.
It's made by Franklin.
We know
That's
Franklin.
Like 60% of the reason why I picked it.
So this is the same company that created the Franklin Ace, which we have several in our collection.
We've covered them pretty in depth.
Mm-hmm. And after they kind of lost, the ability to do Apple clones, they went into PCs for a little while. But then they found, and I think it had to do with the current CEO at the time bought another company that did these online the dictionaries and such.
Yeah.
And it just kind of brought them together. But Franklin, for years, that's what they were known for. Now, I noticed that you went with the Scrabble one.
I did go with Scrabble, but they had a lot of others even on the same page. They had dictionaries, thesauruses, Bibles.
Yeah, they were very big on making Bibles.
But I went with the Scrabble one because of the fact that I've played Scrabble. And you know what we did?
Looked it up on your phone on Google.
Yeah.
Cheated.
Well, you only use it when there's that's not a real word. But
I remember playing Scrabble where you actually had the physical paper dictionary
Oh, yeah.
with it, and that's how you had to look them up. It was not fun.
this seems like a great option for the hardcore Scrabble player.
And I see that it stored 100,000 words and had 44,000 definitions in it. That's pretty impressive for the time.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it's basically their dictionary product, but just with a specific use case.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Could you find any of these on eBay?
Yes, and I found they actually did a ton of different models over the years of Scrabble dictionaries, but I did find this exact model, gorgeous, complete in-box example, for not that much money, so maybe we should buy it before, just to have it. It looks really cool.
I'm an awful speller, so I don't play Scrabble because I always get my butt kicked on it.
What do you mean that's not a real word?
Well, that's our 5 each.
Yeah.
That was fun. I can't wait to go back to the 80s, though. Our next episode of this series will be in the 80s, and I'm looking forward to that because that's more my realm of comfort with RadioShack. But this was fun. It was interesting to see with the technology from the year you were born and how much of that is completely irrelevant now.
Absolutely. Made me feel old.
Well, you're kind of getting there,
Yeah.
But yeah, this was fun. What did you guys think? I would really like to know what of these products you guys may have owned. So please share with your stories and tell us.
What was the big hot tech purchase you made in 1996?
Right.
That's
right.
what I want to
That
know.
would be fun to hear. Anything else you'd like to add?
I would like to just say that doing these videos takes a lot of work from us, from our editor who has to put up with us.
Sorry.
And we don't make much money from them because we're at this moment not yet able to run advertisements on our videos.
Right.
That may change actually by the time you're watching this. I don't know.
Right.
But if you'd like to support us, if you like the things we're doing, please check out our Patreon. We've got some really cool exclusive benefits for you, like the ability to watch videos just like this one early before everyone else. So you can see our recommendations and then go snipe those items on eBay before anyone else.
Before anyone else, right. Yeah, and you do get access to any of our shows. So besides our tech channel, we do have other channels. And your membership with Patreon includes them all. So please check it out. Links in the description.
Yeah.
With that, I think it's time for us to go. So why don't you do that YouTube-y thing and give us our outro with all those little things that we have to say.
Let's see. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications.
They've already done that. Come on.
Of course they have.
Yeah,
You're right. It's probably redundant by
Right.
this point. You guys should absolutely join our Discord server where you can talk in depth day or night with me about all this stuff.
You can tell him what he got wrong about old technology.
Probably everything.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to end it there.
All right.
Goodbye.
See you guys next time.
Techies.
Techies.
Give us a new name, please.